Namaskaram everyone.
Namaskaram everyone.
So we would like to present this as a Samarpanam to all the Tata parties out there.
And a big thank you to Malati ji and the Bhogya team
for coming up with this great idea to talk about our grandparents.
So it is a fact that having grandparents as part of our lives, no matter which part of life they are in, is a boon and gift to us.
We always share a very special bond. So in fact, grandparents are the relief for most children because they can always go to their grandparents and always get their things done, which parents typically never allow. So that's how most of us remember our grandparents, and that's exactly how I remember my tata and party as well. My tata's name is Shri A.L. Krishnamurtha Bhagavatar. Some of you might have heard of him. He's an exponent of Harikatha, of Nama Sankirtanam, and he's quite well known in the circles where he performs in Tiruchi and Angarai. So that's where he comes from, and that's where the A in ALK comes from. And he has always believed and even taught us the concept of Radha Kalyanam. And performed it in front of our eyes. He taught us the idea, or he showed us how Radha Kalyanams are done. So the idea behind Radha Kalyanam is that Radha and Krishna are actually not married. They could not come together according to popular folklore. And in Radha Kalyanam, even this couple was brought together. So it is an imagination of how it would have been if Radha and Krishna got together. And it is a very beautiful depiction of bhakti between the person who wants to believe and the person who wants to surrender but is unable to and is always fighting with Krishna. So it is a very beautiful, romantic depiction of the relationship between Radha and Krishna that is shown. And my tata used to dance for it, also show the emotions in his eyes, in his entire body language, and involve us all with his lively narrations. I have been spending a lot of time this year thinking about him, thinking about his teachings. So this request from Malati came at a very good time. Janani ninnu vina amba janani ninnu vina ninnu vina triloka janani ninnu vina janani ninnu vina Kevarama jagamulona gana ambajanani ninnu vina Kevarama jagamulona gana ambajanani ninnu vina. Some of his stories of even the rare facts of Ramayana or even Mahabharata, which is not usually documented. It is his own interpretations or his own understanding of the reading of the epics that he used to share with us. He used to say this is probably another interpretation. You should think about this character in this angle. And it used to widen our perspective about how we also look at the epics, and also how we look at people around us. So, for instance, he used to even admire Ravana for some characteristics. He used to give some complete different twists to Ravana's role in Rama, for example. And I feel very fortunate to have been his grandchild and received such positive vibrations from him all his life. Manasi Jama Nasa Saumodini Manasi Jama Nasa Saumodini Vinave Nama Navini Vinina Nubro Vinave Nama Navini Vinina Nubro Ni pani ni sa ni sa ni sa gari sa ni sa ga ga ma ga gari sa ni sa gari ni sa gari ni sa ri sa sa ni pa ni sa sa ga ga ma gari sa ga ga ma ni sa ga ga ma ni da ma ni sa ga ga ma gari ni sa ni da ma gari sa ni pa janani ninnu vina. One quality that I really admire in Tata is how he remembered the best in all of us. So whenever we meet him, he would remember the 4 best things about each of us and ask and tell us, you did that for me, you wrote that letter for me once, you got that hanging, I don't remember what. So I used to get him some gift whenever I used to visit him, and he'd be like, you remembered that thing for me, you wrote this about me, you did that for me, you sang that so nicely. So his motivation was at the highest level. No matter what we are going through, what we are doing, he would be unconditional in his praise and seeing the best in the other person and expressing it. So it is not just about knowing this, but also having the heart to express it out loud, the ego to express the lack of the surrender and the love to express these appreciating words. So he would never fail to appreciate. And I think this quality of his has really brought us a long way in our family, because we knew that somewhere Tata would definitely acknowledge us and bless us. But Tata cannot be described without describing Party. So Party is my she has always been so favorite to me that I cannot imagine her in any other form than how she is. We have all always enjoyed her childish questions, her innocence that she still has today, her faith in each one of us, how she remembers every little detail about every grandchild. I think she has about 11 or 12 grandchildren scattered all over the world, and she remembers each one of us in our very last detail about our day-to-day routine. So this kind of memory can only come from love. She is almost 85 years old, and it is amazing how much space she has in her heart for all of us. And and it is also amazing how she supported Tata in all his travels, in all his let's say extreme behaviors in in his quest for Krishna, he used to travel everywhere all over India, and Party used to be accommodative and supportive of him in a very light-hearted manner, which we youngsters are unable to achieve. So yeah, and she also used to concoct names for grandchildren or anybody else whose name she couldn't get. She used to invent her own name in order to call them. So or even have specific way of saying some things, like Uraga would always be Uraha. So she could never say it right, and even till date we make fun of her for certain sweet things that she says, and she also keeps making those mistakes just to make us happy. So I think that makes her really special, and yeah, I think we have a lot to learn from them, because how much they accommodate, how much they take care of others is something even modern women, we learn so much in education, but we cannot really implement everything because of all our ego and everything that comes into play because of education. And I feel these things are something that they are so naturally gifted with in the older generation, and we have a long way to go to learn that and implement that in especially the way in which they were sweet and accommodative of everybody, so social, and that is not very easy even in today's context for us. Kumara Naruda Tara Neranu Ninanato Nuvara Sarasija Bavari Haranuta Pada Sarasija Bavari Haranuta Pada Niravartika Sukata Yaki Anuchuvini Ninocha Lakoli Chiti Nijata Mukatana Yuni Moralu Vidi Valane Bro Chutakuyavari Kedaralo Vinoma Iti Kanama Karunanidhi Kripa Salu Puduru Sukha Sarasiru Haloja Nisuvasini Tamasamuseyakani Rovu Janali Ninuvina Dikevaroma Jagamolona Gana Ambajanadi Ninuvina. So and my other party, my dad's mom, she is a, let me say, she has been my best friend all throughout my life. So she grew me up, and she had me as her best friend. I had her as my best friend. I want to take her and make her part of my life wherever I go. Till date, whether it is in Singapore or in Germany, I want to share my life with her. I bring her along, I take her out to travel in Germany around with me, or in Singapore, wherever possible. And I think her best quality is her attention to detail, perfection, her meticulousness in getting things done. Even if it is folding clothes, she would do it the perfect way each day, each time, over and over again, without any let's say without any pains. So she would just do it joyfully, whatever she does. her cooking is so good that I was so motivated to document it somewhere. I made a recipe book of it by sitting with her, noting down all the recipes, and translate it to German, because I felt these books, these recipes should be available in the way she wanted people to do it. And yeah, I feel it has so much power that it can even treat people of diseases. Just unave marinde, that's what they say. So I have experienced that how much her food has the power to rejuvenate people, to cheer up people, and to bring them back to their full strength. And of course it is possible because she does it with that much love and that much care, not just amazing recipes. So I think it comes as a great package, and it benefits the receiver when they are willing to receive it. Yeah, and I feel each grandparent has influenced me in a very, very, very deep way. And every time I get lost in some way, I feel okay. I have my grandparents who would always think about me, who would pray for me, and whose blessings have helped me in every aspect of life. So today is in fact my tata's birthday, and I feel blessed to talk about him today. And I just rendered a song which all three of them like. So I hope you also like it.
And similar to many grandparents, I also had a great time with my grandparents. I grew up with also both of my grandparents, and yeah. So let me start with my dad's mom and dad, Jayalakshmi Pati and Ramachandran Tata, Ramatata. And actually, I have Rama Tata on both sides because both Tatas have this share the same names, Ramachandran. And so, talking about my Tata, he is let's say a typical example of how to be the the guiding member of the house. So we until I was 9, I guess, we used to have a big joint family where my parents and my uncle, aunt, their families, and my tata pati, we all used to live together. And so he used to work in the High Court in Chennai, and I mean. Some of the qualities that we are teaching today in many of the many of the basic qualities that are required in organizations and in our careers, etc., and even at home. um, he used to be the example of that punctuality and having a routine, having discipline, having being very diligent in saving, and in being very diligent in investing, and also even making decisions, the right decisions, etc. I think I mean, one thing that he always used to tell me is I mean, with respect to career, is there is a proverb in Tamil which says "Kadame sei palane edirparade." So that's what he used to emphasize on all the time. Like, we have to, if we do justice to our duties, if we do our duties right, if we do whatever is in our hands, if we do them right, then automatically the results will fall in place. So we don't basically go for looking for results, we don't work for the results, but then the process itself is more important than the results. So he used to always emphasize on that. Yeah, so that is probably some things that I always take along with from my tata. And talking about my party, Jayalakshmi Party or Jaya Party, another let's say, I think she really sings well. and she has a very nice voice. I think like a nightingale, and I mean, talking sweet, showing love. I think she was probably the epitome of it I have seen in my life. So the way she expresses, the way she used to constantly pour her love and affection to each of the grandchildren, not only the grandchildren, but all her children as well. And even we used to have our neighbors, and we used to have pets at home. A lot of pets at home actually. Those time, both my grandparents, they love pets, and dogs and cats. So she used to take care of us all actually. And sometimes, I mean, those days, my dad used to say that there used to be a number of friends that he used to bring home without notice, and there is always a lot of food, and she used to be an excellent cook as well. Yeah, and I think being sweet, talking sweet, and being very patient, and I mean, giving more importance to um, care and affection than anything else in life. So that is something that I will always take along with from Jaya Pati. Now, coming to my mom's side, Tata Pati. Again, I mean, well, I think the time won't be enough if I start talking about them. I mean, they used to be called the perfect couple as an example and role model of the family. They don't. They I have never seen them communicate actively. So that is something that I wonder. I mean, having being a married man and having children, it is something that amazes me even today. I have never seen them communicating actively. They just communicate without talking, and that is how much how synchronized they were. So it's Narayani Party and again Ramatata, Ramachandran. Just giving you the background. From my mom's side, I come from a musical family. So there are a lot. My tata was an All India Radio A-grade musician by profession. He was a musician, and my great grandfather. I mean, they all hail from a small village near Palakkad, Ennapadam, and so Ennapadam Venkatramana Bhagavatar was my great grandfather, and Ennapadam Ramachandra Bhagavatar was my grandfather, and my great grandfather was a composer and also an exponent in Kadakala Kshepam and Namasankirtanam, and he has. I mean, I by luck, I now have the chance to learn some of his compositions. I'm also going to present one of my Tata's great grandfather's compositions today, Dwaraka Nayakam in Vasanta Ragam. Dwaraka Nayakam Dwaraka-nayakam sattva-gunatmakam Dwaraka-nayakam sattva-gunatmakam Dwaraka-nayakam sattva-gunatmakam Tanavah Ramashraye Tanavaharamaashraye Shubhadayakam Dwaraka Nayakam. Bringing up 9 children, I mean, that is also something that's I think we can keep being amazed and dumbstruck about how they did it, and how they managed to focus on each of the children, especially my party and tata. They wanted every child to be properly educated, to be very independent, self-reliant, and that's what came out in the end as well. I mean, each of my perima, peripa, mamas, and mamis, they are all they have all grown up and established in their lives in their own way, and that is because of my grandparents. So even from my little age, I used to, I always used to wonder how such a big family can be managed by such soft natured, calm, and with limited communication. How they manage to bring up the whole family together. So this is something that I would they, I would always be amazed about. And My tata dedicated his own whole life to music. He was, I mean, even when he's not talking, when he's like always, his hands are into music, putting talam, and thinking about, okay, about the next concert. And he used to teach as well. There were many students as well. And so all I know of my tata is music, music, and music. I think that is probably a tiny drop of whatever that he has left behind. That is what I have today, and I'm really thankful for that. And another thing is, um, these very subtle humor that he used to have, because I used to spend my summer holidays in school with both tata parties, actually, because my parents used to work full time. And so I used to play trump cards with my tata. I used to play chess with him. He was a very good chess player. And of course, we used to also exchange some music, of course. And yeah, and he used to do so much puja every day. So I used to just sit beside him when he does the puja. We had these the salagramam and all the rudraksham and everything at home, and it used to be hours together. Sarasadalanayanam Sarasadalanayanam Sarvarishawadanam Sarasadalanayanam Sarvarishawadanam Tarunaruna Charanam Sarasavadam Mridugadanam Sarasadalanayanam Sarvarishawadanam Tarunaruna Charanam Sarasavadam Mridugadanam Dwaraka Nayakam Satvagunatmakam Danava Ramashraye Shubhadayakam Dwaraka Nayakam. I think somewhere behind in my head, I think the spirituality and the belief and the Sanatana Dharma, everything has been imbibed. So I'm that I think the credit all goes to my grandparents. And talking about Narayani Pati, I think when I think of that, probably it's a bit silly, but the first thing that I can think about Narayani Pati is her big mukuti that she used to wear. So, I mean, that's like the picture that I have in my head. And Yeah, another thing that I always would remember is the combination of having a chapati with ghee and sugar. So it's actually an amazing combination. You should try that as well. So that is something that my party used to give me as tiffin in the evening when I get back from school. So the inspiration and all these nice memories and instances, I think as grandchildren, we have to be extremely lucky to have that as part of our lives. And especially now that we have a child as well, our daughter Asmi, we see the importance of having grandparents around, especially while growing up. I think it I don't know, the love and also those small things that children learn and absorbed from grandparents. I think those are the probably some of the values that we will eternally have, what we gain from grandparents. So on that note, a big thank you again to the Bhogya team for giving us the opportunity to share some thoughts about our Tata Patis. Vallavi yuvadi janavallikadaranaava, Vallavi yuvadi janavallikadaranaava, Pallava sudabana mada muralinaada, Vallavi yuvadi janavallikadaranaava, Pallava sudabana ಬಾಣ ಮಧ ಮುರಳೀನಾದ ಪುಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವರ ಕುಸುಮ ಪುಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವರ ಕುಸುಮ ಪೂರ್ಣ ವಸಂತಾಲಾಭ ಪುಲ್ಲ ಸ್ವರ ಕುಸುಮ ಪೂರ್ಣ ವಸಂತಾಲಾಭ ಸೊಲ್ಲಾಸಗೋ பாலம் கோகிலம் வெங்கடரமணம் புல்லஸ்வர குசும பூர்ணவசம் தாலாப சொல்லாசகோ பாலம் கோகிலம் வெங்கடரமணம் துவாரகா நாயகம் சத்வகுணாத்மகம் தானவர ரமாஸ்ரயே शुभदायकं द्वारका नायकम् Thank you for keeping on inspiring us. And many thanks to all the elders, grandparents, Tada Patis out there. And you never stop motivating us, and thank you for being who you are.